Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NCCEP board member Tina Milano.
Well, good morning, GearUp. Yay! We have had an incredible week so far. Well, actually, it's been a couple of days, but a terrific time. We've had amazing speakers, from Secretary Duncan to DJ Vanas to Mayim, as well as the great sessions I know you've all been to, and then the terrific visit that we had yesterday on Capitol Hill. I'm sure that you all have been as inspired and as impressed as I have been this week. Today, I promise you, this morning, I promise you an equally exciting program. But before we begin with that program, I'd like to just take a moment to thank the wonderful team here at the Hilton. They have they deserve every single piece of that applause, and they've really shown us what it means to provide outstanding customer service. Another thing I'd like to mention is that as a new board member and as a person who's run these national conferences, I am extraordinarily impressed and grateful to the NCCEP staff for the job that they've done. For anybody who's ever run a conference, you know how many things can go wrong. And as far as I know, so far, whatever's gone wrong, they've done a great job of hiding it because it's been terrific so far. So, our next speaker is a longtime friend of mine and also, I'm sure, a familiar face to GearUp. Jim Applegate is now the Vice President for Program Development at the Lumina Foundation. In that role as Vice President, he leads the development of the Foundation's funding programs in support of the Big Goal, and I know you have all heard about the Lumina Big Goal. The goal is to dramatically increase the number of the educational attainment of low-income, first-generation, and minority and adult students. His work really supports the increases in the number of students who are both prepared to enter college and be successful once they arrive there on campus. He's also responsible for the productivity or the attention to the productivity and capacity of the system to provide many more people with high-quality credentials and degrees. Before he came to Lumina, which is when I knew him, Jim served as a senior fellow and vice president for academic affairs at the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education. In this role, he led their efforts targeting, again, college access for low-income, minority, and first-generation students, including leading the Kentucky GearUp program. Jim has also served as professor of communication at the University of Kentucky and was chairman of the department there. He earned his bachelor's from Georgetown College in Kentucky and his master's and PhD from the University of Illinois. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my friend and your friend, Jim Applegate.
Thank you, Tina, for that very kind introduction, and it's good to be here among friends. And I know I'm speaking to faculty who are in high schools and middle schools and colleges. I know I'm speaking to community leaders, administrators, folks from the business community, parents, and perhaps most importantly, students here, GearUp students. And I assume my PowerPoint's going to come up here in just a moment. But I know you've come together because I know GearUp so well. I know you've come together because you know that one of the most important challenges that we have to face in this country over the next decade or more is to dramatically, as Tina was saying, increase the college attainment in the United States to secure a future in which our children can enjoy the same kind of prosperity that we have benefited from over the last 60 years. I know you have come together because you know that to fail to meet this challenge is not an option, that it will put our economic well-being as a country at risk, that it will put our democracy at risk, and our commitment to, as Americans, to opportunity and social justice at risk. And I know you are here because you know one very other important thing, and that is that we cannot secure our future unless our education system, from K-12 through higher ed and into the workforce, rediscovers and recommits to its role as an engine for social mobility for low-income students and students of color, and to shed those policies and practices that, as I will show you today, have created an education system that unfortunately best serves the white and the wealthy, that has become a system that is as much about the reproduction of privilege as about the creation of opportunity, and we're going to change that with your help. And as I said, I know you know all this because I am among friends. As was noted, I led the development of the first GearUp proposal for my then home state of Kentucky years ago. And when I did that is because as I read the GearUp program and became familiar with it, it made intellectual sense to me. I got a PhD, so I always start with this intellectual stuff. And so it made intellectual sense to me because it was about systemic reform. It was about a focus on equity. It was about early intervention. It was about, and I want to highlight this a little bit today, it was also about policy advocacy to change the terrain. So it made complete and intellectual sense to me. But as I worked over the years in Kentucky and worked with Yvonne Lovell, my director of GearUp in Kentucky. Is Yvonne out here somewhere? And my Kentucky folks? As I worked with them over the years and saw thousands of our students who would have been cast aside as, quote, not college material had it not been for GearUp. As I saw them raise their aspirations and move into college and complete college, GearUp moved from my head to my heart. And it became a part of what I really believe is a moral imperative that has defined and directed my passion ever since. And I know you feel the same way, and you are devoting your work to that imperative, so I thank you, and I thank you for inviting me here to speak to you, to hopefully provide you with some information that will help you as you go back, to continue to make the case for low-income students, students of color, and those who are not getting the opportunities they need. When I was in Kentucky recently, they were kind enough to invite me back. I had the opportunity to sit and have dinner with a student who started in GearUp back early in our process in 2002, 3, and 4, and who had just graduated as valedictorian in her college and was on her way to success in life. That's what GearUp is about. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Lumina because although I'm not going to assume you know Lumina or what our goal is, but just a little background about why I'm so excited now about over the last 4 years being at the Lumina Foundation. The Lumina Foundation is the largest foundation in the United States solely focused on what you're focused on, college access and success for all of our students and people. And I want to emphasize today both access and success. For a long time in this country, as I've been around for a while, as you can tell from the way I look, it was all about access. We thought if we got students to inside the college door, we'd done our jobs. Well, then we made the mistake of looking at college success rates. And then we began to realize that no, it's going to take a partnership that will provide the supports for students to get them to meaningful credentials and degrees. And so our goal, 2025, which is Every morning, all day long, on weekends, we're focused on providing every ounce of our resources as a more than $1 billion foundation to this goal. If it's not about this goal, we don't do it. And that is to move the U.S. from where we've been stuck for 30 years or more at about 40% of our population with a good, high-quality college credential that really helps them get into life to 60%. Now, that's 23 million more degrees between now and 2025 than we're on track to produce. That's a lot of folks. And almost all of those 23 million folks are going to have to come from the students that you serve, because we're already doing a pretty darn good job of getting four-year college degrees to wealthy people. We're doing that real well. But what we're not doing is getting degrees to the people who most need them. So we have actually plotted out how we're going to get there for the country. We have put together scenarios about where those degrees are going to come from, and we are convinced, and I know you're convinced, this is entirely possible. This is entirely possible because while 23 million sounds like a lot, when you break it down to what Ohio has to do and what North Carolina has to do and what Florida and Wyoming and New Mexico has to do, and then when you break it down to what the counties in those states have to do, and we're actually working now in more than 20 major cities and metro areas. What does Miami have to do? What does San Antonio have to do? What does New York City have to do? You begin to look at those numbers, and as we work with the mayors and the governors and the GearUp leadership and the community foundations and the employers, they begin to say, you know, we can do that. If we just cut in half the failure rates for our men of color in our high schools and get them to colleges and success, we'll be on the road to making that goal. And we ought to do that anyway. So it is a very doable goal. Now, why is achieving this so important? And I certainly realize I'm speaking to the choir here in terms of why getting college degrees to folks is important. But after you leave here, you're going to leave the church, and you're going to have to go out and start talking to the heathen, right? And so, are some of the, not everybody out there, and so you need to be armed with good arguments and good data and good persuasive arguments. So let me try and provide a few of those here. So this is, I don't know why it's not, anyway, I hope, can you guys see this? Is this okay? Okay. So this is something you may know about. There's an organization called the Office of Economic Cooperation and Development. It's an international organization. It does all the international comparisons among countries about their education progress. The U.S., a while back, was 8th in the world, and everybody just moaned over that. Oh my goodness, we're 8th. This is terrible. The U.S. should be number 1. And then we slipped to 12th. And this is for the young workforce. Understand, this data is for our 25 to 34-year-olds. This is the future of our workforce. This isn't folks like me that are on the way out, or at least my daughter hopes I'm on the way out, so I'll give up my job so she can have one. But in any case, but now we're 15th in the developed world in the education of our young workforce. And if we slide to 18th, I was just at a meeting in D.C. at a retreat with a bunch of Congress folk, and the theme of that meeting and that retreat out in Maryland with the congressional folks was creating an innovation economy. And they had people there talking about deregulation, and they had people there talking about creating more capital to invest in small business and entrepreneurship. And all of that is important to creating a vibrant, innovative economy with a lot of good jobs for the students that are sitting over here. But I got up and I said, let me tell you something, folks. If we drop to 20th in that list, we're not going to have an innovation economy. Where are your entrepreneurs coming from? Where are your people to support those entrepreneurs coming from? And I know for those of you in different states around the country, every governor, every economic development person, all the workforce folks who ought to be your best friends in your states, I mean, they ought to love GearUp in your states, because I know you're about more than this, but you're also about creating the workforce of the future that meets the demands of this economy. So our states are no longer competing with one another. Indiana is no longer, my home state now, is no longer competing with Ohio for good business and good jobs. It's competing with Ireland and Singapore and Germany and other countries. And you look here on this list, and what you see is that we have a whole bunch of states. If you can see it, I'm sure you're looking to find your state. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of states slugging it out with Slovenia and Greece for education attainment levels. This is not a good situation to be in to be competitive. I don't mean to offend any Greeks or Slovenians in the room, but nevertheless. But you know what we find when I go, we talk a lot with governors and legislators and business people and other folks around the country, and when we yell the phrase, beat Norway, nobody kind of responds very well, right? So let me talk a little bit about why this is important to our country. This is a chart that tells you things you already know, which is that people with more education make more money, right? But notice what's happening to the lines. What's happening to those lines? They're getting further apart. They're getting further apart. The premium for a college education is greater than it's ever been in terms of wages, and is growing at a faster rate than it's ever grown. And so what you find here is that the income inequality gap that we talk so much about today is, in this economy, largely a post-secondary education opportunity gap. In 1980, a four-year college graduate made 40% more money than a high school graduate. That's reasonable. You want there to be a premium, right? That's about what it ought to be, economists tell us. By 2010, it was a 74% premium, and if we don't do something, it'll be almost 100% premium in the future. That suggests, any market economist will tell you, that suggests that we have a shortage of folks with post-secondary education. And I can tell you, when I was down in Florida with those business leaders, the GE folks told me they posted 1,000 jobs for line workers, which is not a bad job, and actually requires in some cases some post-secondary. They had 6,000 applicants for those 1,000 positions. They posted an advertisement for about 12 engineers, 12 that they needed. That starts at about $75,000 or $80,000 a year, and they had 7 applications. And 3 of those were in the wrong area of engineering. They weren't right. So which group would you rather be in? The one where you got 6,000 of you applying for 1,000 jobs, or 7 of you applying for 12 jobs? And this just repeats itself. What's happening is, at every level, the economy is ramping up the demands for education level. In the energy industry and the utility companies, I think this is an interesting example of what I'm talking about. There are great stories about folks who are actually CEOs who are big time in the utility companies now, who started out with high school education only as meter readers. And then they worked hard. They went from meter reader to pole climber, where you climb the poles and do the work. And then on up, and now they're a great success story. Brings tears to the eyes. Guess what's happening to the meter reader jobs? They're going away. We don't need people. We can do that technologically. So if you want to start, if you want to even get your foot in the door in that industry, you start as a pole climber. And guess what? What's at the top of those poles today is very different than what was at the top of those poles 20 or 30 years ago. And you do not want someone climbing that pole without an appropriate associate degree in that area, unless you're interested in brownouts and blackouts, right, in your metropolitan area. And that's what's happening over and over again in every industry. So the question then becomes I'm not going to, as I say, I'm speaking to the choir, but this is why we've got to turn this around. Not only also in terms of the equity issue and the social justice issue, we are finding disturbing trends where the younger generation of African American, Native American, Hispanics are less educated than the older groups for those groups as well. And we weren't doing very well with the older groups, right? So you are part of the solution. So what must we do to turn this around? Well, one of the things I want to really emphasize here today is that it is about access and success. To get to 60% of this population with a post-secondary, a college credential degree, and let me say, when we say college, we mean 2-year, we mean 4-year, as well as some other certificates even that can get people good jobs and get them a decent life. But it's access and success. We can't get there unless we get millions more students into college. So when you hear somebody say, well, that college completion agenda, it's against access, that's crazy talk. We have to get millions more students into college. But now we know we've got to do something else. We've got to get them out on the other end with a good degree that gets them a good job and enables them to live a decent life and contribute to their communities and support their families. We've got to do both those things. And that's why I think the work in GearUp, the 7th year now that has been added to GearUp, to begin to really push that visibility that the partnerships need to be middle school, high school, and college, and to talk about that continuum as one and not have the breakpoints and the gaps. So we need access and we need success. So as GearUp folk, you need to be talking about both those things in your communities, in your regions, in your states. We also need to focus on 21st century students. We say we need a 21st century higher ed system for 21st century students. When I come to this great city to talk to policymakers at the federal level, often at the state level, I discovered that their vision of college is about a 1961 vision of college. It is of a quad with frisbees being thrown and going to a football game on Saturday, and and the folks who come in to work for those folks from their states usually went to, if you work for a congressman or a senator from Indiana, probably going to get in trouble for saying this, and there's probably an exception, and someone's going to tell me, but overall, you went to Notre Dame, you went to IU, you went to Purdue, and those are great institutions, and we certainly want a lot of our students to go to those institutions. But the vast majority of students in American higher education today are not like my son, who started last year, going full-time, living in a dorm, etc. And we have to create a system that accommodates to the needs of those students and policies and practices that those students need. We need programs that recognize that it's different for a student who's a first-generation student, who doesn't have the support network, who doesn't have the parents and people to help him understand what is, frankly, and I've taught for many years in higher ed, a rather bizarre culture and system, and why would you know how to work within it if you didn't have someone helping you know how to do it? And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this is not what GearUp focuses on, but I have to say this in every talk. You know who we forget all the time is adults. Because we've had such a huge college dropout problem, we now have in this working economy right now among our workforce, 25 to 64, 36.2 million adults with some college and no degree. They actually went to college. And we know that a significant percentage of them have 60 hours or more of college, but they left with nothing except maybe debt, right? That can't happen to our students. But we also have to reach back out to this population, and you know what? College has to come to them because they have jobs and families and responsibilities, and we have to bring college to them. And one other place where it's relevant to GearUp, and I have to tell this two quick stories, is what I call the ripple effect. Because if you're working, I'll tell you a story in Kentucky, a little aha moment I had. We had a GearUp bus, wonderful bus. It traveled around and went to places, and it was wireless, and you could get on, and you could do online tours of colleges and apply, and we'd get all the GearUp kids on the bus. Well, one day we're at this location, and the GearUp bus is there, and the kids are there, and I'm all excited, and I look over, and you know what? Our adult education folks had a bus. And that bus was down the way in the same parking lot. And the parents of the kids, GearUp kids, were walking into that bus. But we were doing it totally parallel. And we weren't thinking about the fact, we have these programs for middle school, high school students, and we have these programs for adults. And what we forget is these people don't live like that. They live in families. And there's a synergy that begins to develop. When we were doing the adult work about getting more adults the opportunity for college who hadn't had it or hadn't finished, one of the most powerful motivators we heard in the focus groups we did with the adults, often very tearful conversations, was that they wanted to go back because they could no longer help their child with their third grade math. And they wanted to be a better parent. So there's an opportunity here to begin to think about parents that I just want to lay out for you. But let me move on to things that's more in your sweet spot. To succeed, we must achieve equity. You look at these numbers and these gaps, and we've had these gaps for a long, long time. And you have to ask yourself, why are we so comfortable with these gaps? Why have we decided this is okay? It is not okay. It has never been okay from a moral standpoint, and today from an economic standpoint, it is an impending disaster. in terms of the equity. Now, let me give a plug for a publication you might want to access in your work as GearUp. It's a report that we do every year called A Stronger Nation Through Higher Education. And if you go look at that, you'll get this kind of data about education levels, equity gaps, all of this by state, but for every one of your states, and you'll get it by county in your state. So you can see where you are in the national picture. But these are pretty. So we need to have some honest conversations in this country about race and about why we're so comfortable with this. I was in a meeting of public school superintendents some years ago, and I laid out something like this. I didn't have as good a data as Lumina was able to give me, but I had some pretty good data about what are the consequences of not getting a child to college. Shorter lifespan, poorer health, lower earnings, much more likely to have unfortunate encounters with the criminal justice system. And I finished this powerful talk like I'm doing today, and I was all fired up, and I had a superintendent of public instruction stand up to me and say, Dr. Applegate, this is a great presentation. I was so inspired by it, but you got to understand, some of our kids just aren't college material. And I try to always be tactful in public settings. And so I said, Mr. Superintendent, I said, you know your students better than I do. I said, and so I'll tell you what I'll do. If you will convene an assembly in your gym of all the students that the adults in your building have decided are not college material, and you will invite their parents, their foster parents, their grandparents, whoever loves them and cares about them, I will come and I will give this presentation to your district about the consequences of not getting your child to college. And yeah, I said, you know what? After they hear that, if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. I was never invited to give that talk in that district. And why are these gaps so devastating? Because when you look at where our future workforce is coming from, these are census projections. For just take the Latino population, there will be 80 million more Latinos living in this country by 2050. And if you look at this, all the projected growth populations are the ones on that previous chart that we're not doing a good job of getting a college education to. That is, again, an impending economic disaster. We also need to talk about class in this country. We don't like to talk about class because Europe has class. We don't have classes because we're a democracy, right? This is from the 2010 census. This is just, if this doesn't make you shock you, make you angry, get you want to moving out of here and get some good work done, I don't know what will. The 24-year-olds in the upper income quartile in 2010, almost 4 out of 5 of them had a 4-year college degree. If you are wealthy, you almost have to jump off the boat and tie a concrete block around your ankle to not get to the college shore, right? If you're in the lowest income quartile, only 11%. So unless and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but this is the point. Unless you believe that your color of your skin, the wealth of the family into which you're born, or for that matter, for goodness sake, the zip code in which you're born, is the defining feature of your ability to contribute to America's economy and its democracy, Houston, we have a problem. And I'm looking at the people out here, and you're the solution to that problem. So I want to talk a little more about what we need to do to get this issue solved. First of all, this is a little bit of foundation talk, but let me just tell you what I mean. Scaling effective practice. And that's what GearUp is really about, systemic reform, right? We can no longer afford precious programs that bring tears to the eyes. I love them. I love to go hear about them, where we're getting 15 more students every year to college. We need hundreds of thousands of programs interconnected and linked that are getting millions of students more to college. And that's what GearUp's about, connecting that, scaling that, integrating it systemically into the water supply of our school systems and our colleges. We need public policy advocacy, and I want to spend just a little time talking about that because my experience with GearUp was there are some folks in GearUp that are doing policy work, some maybe not so much, and we all need to be on the policy train, and I want to talk about that. And the last piece is public will building, in terms of being able to get some folks who know what needs to be done to, as Shakespeare would say, screw their courage to the sticking place and do it and get it done. I want to move on here just a little bit about policy stuff because I want to talk to you about some things. I have some we had some experience with this in Kentucky. There's some things you can be doing now. I know you got tons to do. You're working with the kids, you're putting in interventions, you're doing all that, but you ought to be about a part of the conversation. We are putting millions of dollars in. How many of you are familiar with the Common Core state standards? Oh, that's all right. Okay, so this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to put in place standards, assessments, curriculum, pedagogy, and teacher developments that will, for once and for all, say in this country, being able to ready for college in math is the same in Ohio as it is in Indiana. And honestly, we've up till now, we've been sort of like, it's not the same. Every state's had its own standards, but it will take a lot of work to get that implemented. I hope you are a part of that conversation about why it needs to be done, why we need to hold the line as we get these results and try to do better, and helping to make sure that all the back work that needs to be done will do that. Longitudinal data, we need data, and some of the GearUp programs I know are helping create this data that tracks students literally from cradle to career. There are only a few places where we can do that. Because how do we know where to intervene and what's working unless we can follow and know who's dropping off the train at what points and why? And that, just to be, for a moment, I just say that needs to follow into career. We will be releasing a report in some states soon that will talk about college graduates, that will talk about exactly what happened to every college graduate in that state by institution and by major. Who has a job after 1 year? What are their wages? Is the job in anything that they actually studied? Because we need to hold colleges as accountable for the success of their graduates as we hold middle schools and high schools accountable for the success of their graduates. A couple of other things. I'm going to race through this a little bit. I'm happy there's more I can share and Lumina has on this. College readiness progress reports. How many of your states have these college readiness reports, progress reports? Our understanding is 16 states have them, 18 are planning them, where they really are reporting on how students are ready for college going forward. Do you have those in your states? Some folks do. But really, that draws a light on what's happening along the way from middle school to high school and high school to college. If you look up college readiness progress reports, there are a number of reports on states that are doing those and those that are doing those well. Advocate for financial aid policies that serve the students that you care about. Our financial aid system in this country, federal, state, every level, was created in the 70s for a population that we're no longer serving. So you need to be about the business of being an advocate to make sure that your state and institutional aid, and you know there's a lot of folks out there that don't even know that a lot of four-year institutions give scholarships. You know that, but they don't. And they give a lot of money in scholarships. And how many of your states have a state scholarship program, like lottery-based or something like that? A lot of you. Do you know what's happened to those scholarship programs over the last 10 years? The state scholarship programs have had dramatic increases in a move away to merit-based aid. And the way they define merit is very narrowly in many cases. It's test scores and high school grade points, right? And the result of that is, I'll give you the beloved, how many folks from Florida here? Florida? Anybody from Florida? Oh, come on, there's got to be, oh, there you go, okay. Woo-hoo, Florida, okay. Florida's a great state in many ways. We're working in Florida in many ways, but you would know as well as I do that your Bright Futures program is messed up, right? Because what happens in Florida is there's hundreds of millions of dollars that go in merit aid to students to go to college, and significant portions of that, of the 400+ million at one point, I looked a couple of years ago, almost 150, 180 million, go to families in Florida making over $200,000 a year. Many of my friends in Florida, I don't know if you guys have heard this, many of my friends in Florida call that the car dealer relief program because it allows those wealthy students to have a car when they go to college. At the same time, Florida is running out of money to get low-income Latino students into college who can't go otherwise. And that doesn't make any sense from a policy perspective. At the institutional level, we have seen, ask your institutions you're working with, and those of you here in higher ed who I know are in the choir, ask your institution to give you the data on who they give their institutional aid to. And you will find, again, we've seen overall, there's a report we put out called Opportunity Adrift, if you're interested. There's been a much faster increase in institutional aid going to wealthier students than to low-income and even middle-income students. What is that? So that means at this very difficult time in our history, at this very difficult time in our history, when institutions and states could have been buffering the pain that this recession has caused, and it has been unequally distributed. The pain of this recession has been much more borne by the poor and lower middle class than has the upper class. I know we hear about college graduates maybe not being able to find jobs. Everybody has an example. But let me tell you the real data. Among college graduates in the worst of this recession, unemployment was in the 8-9% rate. The unemployment rate for high school graduates was 22%. So and when you hear these people telling you, well, you know, the recession, we don't need so many college graduates, we don't need all these people going to college, first of all, ask them who they mean by these people who are not going to go to college, and then ask them if their kids are going to college, and ask yourself whether you want as students, whether you want to be in the group that has, at worst, a 1 in 10 chance of being unemployed or a 1 in 4 or 5 chance of being unemployed, and where the opportunities are going. So think about that. Financial aid, we need to be using every piece of our resources in that. I am running out of time, but a couple other quick things. Work with your colleges and with your high schools to create these clear pathways to careers. We can't throw these students into a college campus and hand them a 300-page course catalog and say, find your way, right? And decide between option A and option G in the math requirements, and option A and option Q in the composition requirements, and figure it all out. That's why we have such a failure rate. We have to create clear pathways where people can see that what they're doing is taking them down a path to a good life. Work on creating those pathways. I'm going to move along here. And actually, and I say this to my higher ed folks, work to support a focus for your colleges on completion. I know, I just want to say that because you care about, right? I mean, it's about how well are you doing in getting more students' degrees. It's not about how many students you're putting in seats. When I was in Kentucky, and in most states till today, the way higher ed gets funded is on enrollment. So every October 1st, they do a census to see how many students are sitting in seats in those colleges and universities. And depending on that, that influences your funding. And then the next October, they do it again, and if you have more students sitting in seats, that's better. If you have less students, that's worse. What that masks is the fact that the students sitting in the seats the 2nd October are not the same students that were in the seats the 1st October. Thousands of them dropped out. We just replaced them. It's a revolving door. We have to hold our higher education institutions accountable. When you send your GearUp students that you have invested so much of blood, sweat, and tears, and they have invested as students so much in blood, sweat, and tears to college, we have a responsibility to provide the supports they needed because they will succeed if we do that, and we must do that. Finally, I say some of this is building will. Building will. You can do this so well in your states and in your regions. Be a voice for the voiceless. Be strategic and targeted. Think about who you need to be talking to, business leaders, government leaders, etc. Know these audiences is what will motivate them. Some audiences will be moved by an equity and social justice argument. Some will be only moved by an economic workforce argument. Make the right arguments to the right people to get this done. Mobilize coalitions. Make the ask. Tell people what they need to do to support this. So finally, let me just conclude by saying that, you know, the public is getting this. Our national polling data tells us that growing percentages of people across the country in national samples are saying they believe, they know that a college education is necessary. Not nice, not useful, but necessary for a decent life. And yet these same people, many of them are less sure than they've ever been that they're going to be able to give themselves or their children that opportunity. So to meet this challenge, we must think in new ways about how we do our work together. No more 1,000 random acts of excellence. We've got to come together. We've got to collaborate, be a common voice, be a common actor, scale our work, put it into policy so it sticks. And none of us can do this on our own. We have to work together and collaborate. Even GearUp, as wonderful and large a program is, can't do it by itself. And that's why the things I talked about today in partnership and policy is so important. One of my favorite poems, I'm a communications person, so you always have to end with a quote, right, in a speech. So one of my favorite poets who tragically, recently just passed away was Adrian Rich. And Adrian Rich wrote in a poem, this is in the 70s, but it's sort of, I think, still applicable to our work today. I'll do an excerpt. I used to be in theater and perform, but I'm not going to perform for you today. I'll just read it. The rules break like a thermometer. The rules break like a thermometer. Quicksilver spills across the charted systems. Whatever we do together is pure invention. The maps they gave us were out of date by years. The maps they gave us were out of date by years. I would suggest that many of the maps that are currently being used that don't address the needs of 21st century students, that don't address the need to close the equity gaps, these maps are out of date by decades. And we need to work together to create the collective impact that will toss aside the current maps that have distorted the mission of our education system to the point that it seems, as I said before, as much about the reproduction of privilege as a tool for social mobility. And we must do this and provide a pathway for opportunity for GearUp students across this country and their peers so that we can create an economically successful, globally competitive America, so that we can have an America with a more vibrant democracy, not crippled by income inequality, and to a renewal of this country's commitment to once again be a land of opportunity for everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We want to thank Jim Applegate and the Lumina Foundation for bold commitment to and significant investment in college readiness and completion. Thank you, Jim. Good morning. I'm Diane Charles, NCCEP's Director of National Programs. Please welcome to the stage Deputy Assistant Secretary for Higher Education Programs, Deborah Saunders White. NCCEP board members, Martha Cantu. NCCEP board member, Laura Rendon. ACT Senior Vice President, Ranjit Sidhu. And NCCEP Executive Director, Nathan Monell. It is my honor to kick off the 2012 GearUp Leadership Awards ceremony. You all may be seated. Thank you. We have always known that the GearUp community has incredible stories to tell. From outstanding students, to devoted parents, to engaged partners, and dedicated professionals, our stories can weave a revolutionary tapestry with themes of education, empowerment, equity, and economics. This year, we are very proud to unveil 4 new leadership awards to highlight the best of the best. Our awards recognize individuals in 4 categories: parent leader, community partner, professional, and youth. We were honored to have so many outstanding nominations, and I want to thank those who nominated individuals and also those who served on the committee to help with the selection of this year's award winners. I also want to thank ACT for their sponsorship of this year's awards program. Many of you know that ACT is a partner in the 15-state College and Career Readiness Evaluation Consortium and is generously donating the time of its accomplished research team. We're grateful for their support and their significant contribution to advance GearUp. So, let us begin with the 2012 GearUp Leadership Awards. Deborah Saunders White, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Higher Education Programs, will introduce our first award winner. Deborah.
Well, good morning, GearUp. It is a pleasure and a privilege to introduce the 2012 GearUp Parent Leader of the Year. She hails from the great state of Louisiana. Please join me in congratulating Karen Harris for her contributions. Karen is the director of the Rayville High School Parents Advocate Committee. She's the driving force behind the activities that encourage and support parents' participation. Karen's leadership is evident in many programs, many of which were either organized or initiated by her, such as the 9th grade Roundup, an all-day Saturday event that provided entering freshmen with a mock school day. We know how important that transition can be from middle school to high school. Karen is an active member of the school improvement team, where she contributes to a long-range academic planning and serves as a key example for all other parents by demonstrating in meaningful ways to parents how to be positive and an inspiration in their students' education. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Karen Harris as this year's GearUp Parent Leader of the Year. Now, Karen is not able to join us, but accepting in her behalf is Sally Dolan from the Louisiana GearUp community.
Good morning, GearUp. I'm very, very happy to accept this on behalf of my friend Karen Harris and for the Louisiana GearUp program. I'm happy, but Karen is very saddened that she couldn't be here today. She had a personal emergency with her family come up and was not able to attend. But all I can say is, go Karen!
Good morning. I'm Ranjit Sidhu with ACT, and it really is an honor to be here. For those of you who don't know, I was with NCCEP before I joined ACT about 4 years ago, so it has been such a treat to be back here this week. This is my first annual conference since I left NCCEP and working with the GearUp community. And so, before I introduce the awardee, I just did want to share one thought about ACT's support and deep commitment to the GearUp community and why we do it. As Diane mentioned, we're pretty involved in a substantive way outside of just sponsorships in terms of working with GearUp communities. And I had a revelation or a reawakening on Monday morning at the conference on why ACT is so committed to GearUp. So I was at the roll call at the States on Monday morning, and it was the first time ever that I went to the roll call and didn't have a roll, right? So I sat in the back and watched this thing go down, and sort of the chaos and bedlam and pride that ensues during that morning activity. And I was just kind of watching it, seeping it all in, and at one point, some guy stood up in the middle of the room, and he had a T-shirt of his program bundled up in a wad, and he hurled it like a fastball towards Montana. And I thought to myself, man, the pride this guy has in place and in his work, like, take my T-shirt, is why ACT is so committed to GearUp. Because it's got to have that level of pride, commitment, not just from where you are, but what you do every day with those students to get this job done. And it was a personal awakening for me. It was Monday morning, and I thought, this is why we work, right? So for the young people, it's just not about all the academic achievement. I would watch the folks that are mentoring you here in terms of what work is all about. So I just want to acknowledge you and why ACT is so committed to your work. Now, in a room full of stars, it really is my honor to present an award to a star amongst stars, and that is for the 2012 GearUp Community Partner of the Year Award, which is going to the Robert and Janice McNair Educational Foundation based in the great state of North Carolina. The foundation is a collaborative partner with GearUp North Carolina, and the foundation's mission is to improve education in Rutherford County by increasing the number of students who pursue education beyond high school. Their mission really is truly aligned to the GearUp mission in almost every way. The foundation seeks to prepare students academically for college, provide an adult mentor for every student, and help students and families secure financial aid. Over 100 adults work directly with students starting in the 8th grade. McNair mentors focus on grades, academic achievement, selecting appropriate courses, attendance, behavior, tutoring, and other college readiness activities such as ACT prep and, yes, even SAT prep. Which is important, both. Thanks to the GearUp McNair partnership, the work of GearUp North Carolina to decrease the high school dropout rate has been strengthened. And through collaboration with the McNair Foundation, GearUp initiatives will be fully realized for years to come. Accepting on behalf of the team at the McNair Foundation today is their Executive Director, Monica Lee. Please join me in welcoming Monica.
Thank you. I am very pleased and proud to accept this award on behalf of Robert and Janice McNair, our Board of Trustees and our staff. In 1989, Robert McNair recognized that while many of our students in Rutherford County had the potential to go to college, too few of them recognized college as an option for them. He and his wife Janice had the foresight to found an organization that would focus on increasing the number of students in our county who would go to college after high school. While the foundation has worked in partnership with Rutherford County Schools for the past 23 years to accomplish this mission, the addition of GearUp North Carolina for the past 7 years has allowed all of us to maximize our resources and do more, serve more students with more activities and opportunities, resulting in more students enrolling in college. While our once thriving textile community is now suffering with a poor economy and high unemployment, and only 14.6% of our citizens holds a bachelor's degree or higher, 73% of our GearUp students are enrolling in college after high school. That is the power of partnership and collaboration that is a cornerstone of NCCEP and the GearUp mission, and we are grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this mission and for the recognition that we are receiving today. Thank you.
Buenos dias, GearUp. My name is Martha Cantu, and I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs at the University of Texas Pan American, and I'm one of the newest members of the NCCEP Board of Directors. It is my pleasure this year to introduce the 2012 GearUp Professional of the Year. As a GearUp director, a former GearUp director, I know what a difficult job this is. Will all the parents show up for the training? Oh my God, too many parents showed up for the training. 4 o'clock in the morning, waiting for the buses to get there for the college tours, getting back at midnight, working evenings, working weekends. I know what a difficult job it is, but I also know what an incredibly wonderful job it is. This year, Kevin Anthony of the South Bronx GearUp and Bronx GearUp is a GearUp Professional of the Year. In New York City, Kevin Anthony is a face of GearUp, known for his expertise and his commitment to making college a reality for underrepresented youth. As GearUp Project Director within the South Bronx and Bronx GearUp programs, Kevin is a pioneer in promoting college awareness to 10,000 low-income, predominantly minority students. His understanding of the challenges facing Bronx youth inspires him to ensure that each student served by GearUp takes full advantage of every opportunity possible, navigating and surmounting the obstacles to college. Kevin far exceeds the expectations of his GearUp job, making a significant difference in the lives of thousands of children. This can be seen through graduation rates that are over 20% of the city average in some schools, and yet over 50% in others. The high standard of performance he sets for himself and his Bronx Institute colleagues provides an example of what can be done with the right determination and the right compassion. Please join me in congratulating Kevin Anthony, the GearUp Professional of the Year. Okay. Along with this award, don't look scared, it's good. Kevin will also receive a scholarship named in honor of the late Dr. Peter A. Duell. Dr. Duell was a founding NCCEP board member and past chair of NCCEP's board of directors. Dr. Duell made significant contributions of leadership, time, and talent to improve college access, just as Kevin does in his work every day. Congratulations on your award, Kevin, and on your scholarship.
That's a shock. This is cool. It's like an Oscar or an Emmy, and I've always wanted to win one of those. So you got to give me just 1 minute to say some thank yous. I wrote them down. Before the music starts to play, let me do that. First off, I need to thank NCCEP and ACT for this great honor. Words can't describe how I feel. I also like to thank Professor Herminio Martinez from the Bronx Institute for giving me the opportunity to do a program that I truly love, for his support, his leadership, his friendship, and also he always continues to challenge me to grow. Thank you. I also like to thank my colleagues who are here. I look at Martha, Isabel, Bruce, Ryan, Iffy, and Donna, and thank them for creating a place where I love to go to work every day, working with a dedicated and a committed team to change the lives of the students that we all work with. And not lastly, but I also like to thank everyone in this room. Yeah, I'm nervous, but this is what it must feel like. I like to thank the GearUp family. The GearUp family and I got a list of people that I just want to go show you how well this family works across the country. From Linda in Vermont, Ann in Boston, Charles in Michigan, Wendy in Chicago. You can be happy if I say your name. Wendy in Chicago, Sue in Washington, Lily in California, Ron in New Mexico. My new friends I met in New Mexico who have this great iPad presentation the other day. I'm stealing your iPad idea. You need to know that right now. And to Cedric in Texas, to my colleagues in New York, Yvette, Diane, Marilyn, Cynthia, Ann, CG, all of the wonderful people, to the people at the department, to James, and now I'm saying all of a sudden I got nervous. I want to make sure I pronounce Javatari, so sorry. And Paris. I don't know if you guys know, there used to be a program officer, Paris, and I used to probably call her all the time. So I need to say, even though she's not here, thank you very much for all your guidance. Again, none of this happens for me without the support of the GearUp family. So I accept this award, but it really is for all of us, because everyone in this room is truly the GearUp Professional of the Year in my eyes. Last thing I'd like to say thank you to are the students. Not only the students who are here today, but the students that I work with every day. They inspire me. I have an opportunity that my students from '99 have graduated, but you know what they're doing? They are working for us at our GearUp program. They are back giving, after they've graduated from college, James, you'll be happy to hear that. They are back working for us and giving back to the students in GearUp in the South Bronx and in the Bronx in general in New York City. So it is a pleasure to work with those students and to work with all of you. Again, thank you NCCEP, thank you ACT for this great honor. Thank you very much.
Buenos dias, GearUp. I'm Laura Rendon. I'm chair of the NCCEP Board of Directors and professor of higher education at the University of Texas, San Antonio. For all the Tejanos in the crowd. I have the honor of presenting the GearUp Youth of the Year Award. And before I present the two awards and scholarships, I really want to take a moment to recognize all of the GearUp students, because we know they are all winners. Would you please stand up, GearUp students? This year's Youth Awardee will also receive a scholarship towards their education, a scholarship that I have been proud to sponsor for the past 5 years. But as we reviewed the student applications for Youth of the Year, we realized that we had so much talent, commitment, and hard work that we wanted to recognize an additional student with scholarship money. So we have a winner and a runner, and both winners, but one is a runner-up. So I want to first recognize the first award to the runner-up student, who is a student from Alice, Texas. I want to recognize Christopher Rodriguez of the Texas GearUp Star Program. He's a rising junior. He's an honor roll student, an all-district choir member, a star tennis player, a first-class Boy Scout, and a dedicated volunteer in planning, implementing, and facilitating FACE GearUp middle school programs. In his work with students, fathers, and other parent figures, he has distinguished himself as a leader in promoting a college-going culture at his school. Christopher Rodriguez is a student with a very bright future, and today I am proud to present him with a 2012 Laura Rendon Community Service Recognition Scholarship Award. Please welcome Christopher Rodriguez.
Good morning. First of all, I just want to thank everybody from the Youth Congress. Y'all have grown on me more than just friends. I feel like we're family. Also, I want to thank my family for always being there for me. Whenever times get tough, you always support me. Also, I want to thank my GearUp directors. If you could please stand in the audience. Doris T., Amy Kenning, and Kristen Reynolds. And lastly, I want to thank the person who has made the biggest impact in my life. I have been with him since 4th grade. He is my GearUp mentor, and he is like a second father to me. Mr. Rincon, if you could please stand. Thank you. And this couldn't be possible without everybody that's in this room from GearUp. Thank you very much.
And now I have the pleasure of introducing the 2012 GearUp Youth of the Year, Ms. Kendall Ryan of the West Virginia GearUp program. Yes. As a key player in the West Virginia GearUp program, Kendall Ryan is at the forefront of GearUp projects and initiatives at Scott High School in Madison, West Virginia. Kendall is a student with a clear educational plan, and she is dedicated to helping others follow her lead. After witnessing the tragic passing of her father at a very early age, Kendall learned to move forward and still managed to play a vital role in the development of her two younger siblings. Her experience inspired her to give back, and she developed a grief counseling program for elementary school children who face the tragedy of losing a parent. Kendall also spearheads a student-led group at her school known as HEROES, Higher Education Readiness Officers, a peer-to-peer outreach group working to develop a college-going culture. Under Kendall's leadership, this group has organized numerous events, led a college access summit, developed video projects to promote awareness of college entrance requirements and financial aid, and encourage peers to go on to some form of post-secondary education. Her desire to help children who face the same struggles and challenges that she faced has given her an energetic approach to her own life goals. For these and so many other reasons, Kendall is a role model and a leader among her peers and within her community. Please join me in congratulating Kendall Ryan as GearUp Youth of the Year.
Sorry. Hi, good morning. I would just like to say that my experience with Youth Congress has been like no other. Each and every one of you have grown on me in your own way, and also Justin and Greg. I've been with Justin for 2 summers now, and he's just amazing. If we could give him a hand. First, I would like to thank the West Virginia GearUp staff and program. You all have grown on me and inspired me in ways you can't imagine, not just me, but the rest of the West Virginia GearUp program and students. As well, I would like to thank the NCCEP community for this opportunity. I am unbelievably honored to receive this award. Along with this, I would like to thank my family for supporting me in anything I decide to do, no matter what. GearUp began at my school when I was only in the 7th grade. I can honestly say we didn't realize the benefits that this program had. But 4 years later, I can stand here in front of you and say that if it wasn't for GearUp and educators like yourselves, I would not have had the opportunities that I have today. I will go to college. I will get my degree and become an educator like many of you. Beyond that, my goal is to pursue a 2nd degree, a master's in counseling, so that one day I can help school children. I see the possibilities. They are endless and they are achievable. I'm so thankful that our school was chosen as a GearUp school. I'd personally like to thank each and every one of you for the wonderful work that you do. You're making a difference in students' lives. On behalf of the GearUp students everywhere, I would like to say thank you.
Let's give one more round of applause to all of our award winners. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are taking photos of the awardees, we ask that the Youth Congress participants please assemble for their presentation.
Chairs too. All chairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barbara Simpson from Texas Instruments.
Good morning, GearUp. My name is Barbara Simpson, and I am the Director of School Partnerships for Texas Instruments, working with students and educators in the eastern region of the United States. And Texas Instruments is very honored to be a part of the 2012 NCCEP GearUp Conference, and more importantly, to be the sponsor of this year's Youth Congress. In working with you as a part of the GearUp community, we share a common vision: college readiness, student achievement, and academic success. TI is committed to helping students become successful in mathematics and science, through our educational technology, through academic content, through professional development for many of the educators sitting in the audience today, and for partnerships with NCCEP and GearUp. Our commitment is reflected in our work with more than 20 of your grants. Why, in just the last 2 years alone, we have worked with more than 2,000 mathematics and science educators in developing professional opportunities for you, and therefore impacting more than 250,000 GearUp students. We at Texas Instruments believe that a strong STEM education will remove barriers and will open doors for all students. This has become the driving force as to what we do at Texas Instruments. And working collaboratively, Texas Instruments, NCCEP and GearUp, educators and parents alike, we will remain focused on what we do and why we do it every single day. It's our future. It's our students. And so without further ado, we are going to bring to you our nation's best and our brightest. I'm pleased to present to you Jason Boudreau of GearUp Excellence and to kick off this year's Youth Congress festivities. Thank you.
Hey everyone, Barbara, please know that I believe I speak on behalf of everyone in this room when I say that your team is first class, professional, fun, and efficient. And it's simple. Without your unwavering support, we're not here. This show is not happening. So I just want you to know that we appreciate so that we can do what we do. Thank you. Thank you. Since 2007, we've been so fortunate to be part of the annual conference and to work with the youth component. Whatever title it had, we were there with them, working with them in the back, and we're truly grateful for that. And in fact, this year is very special for us. And you should feel very happy too, because over the years, the one thing that the GearUp constituents were always saying and voicing is, we need more people at this annual conference. We need more people, and because of the leadership of the NCCEP staff, it happened. 3 times as many students were here this weekend with us. You guys are clapping, but really you're thinking, let's get this show started. I feel that. And let me tell you that I am ready to introduce the first team. The first team, and their theme that they chose is Dreams. And Dreams is a fun time this time because we are so close to the Olympics starting. I got the opportunity to meet a gold medalist, an Olympian, one time. And I said, how did it feel during the opening ceremonies to be in that room? What was the energy like? And he stops and thinks for a second. He said, you know what? Do you know what every single person in that room had in common? I was thinking to myself, oh, he's going to say something like commitment, determination, focus. He says, there's not one realist in the room. Every single person in that room is a dreamer. You imagine how many times every Olympian has been told that they can't, that maybe their dream is just a little bit too big? You know, I know you guys already wear so many hats, and one of the hats that you may not even be aware of that you're wearing every day is a dream champion. Because you truly do instill the belief in them that they may not be getting anywhere else. With that being said, let's get this show started. I have a dream, a song to sing, to help me cope with anything. If you see the wonders of a fairy tale, you can take the future, even if you fail. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, when I know the time is right for me. I have a dream, I have a dream.
Dreams are the expression of the human soul, and they burn brighter for the faith in them. And thanks to all the GearUp staff who have helped us get to this spot today, our dreams will burn the brightest. My name is Jacob Salisbury, and my dream is to never be forgotten because I matter.
My name is Chad, and my dream is to travel around the world.
My name is Morgan, and my dream is to take my sister to Disneyland because of her Hirschsprung disease. She is at risk to die any day.
My name is Jade, and my dream is to become a vet.
My name is Shalise Purvis, and I will be a dance instructor and pediatrician.
My name is Alyssa, and my dream is to open my heart and soul to a world of art and creativity.
My name is Crystal, and I want to graduate from high school as a summa cum laude.
My name is Jasmine, and I want to change the world by ending discrimination against people of different genders, races, orientations, and religious views.
My name is Jennifer, and my dream is to run a full marathon, all for charity, to help those who are unable to help themselves.
My name is Gabriella, and I want to own my own hair salon.
My name's Jose, and my dream is to be a successful mathematician and entrepreneur.
My name is Aldrin, and my dream is to become a mechanical engineer. And no one is going to tell me that I'm not good enough.
My name's Remington, and my dream is to be someone that my children can look up to.
My name's Colton, and my dream is to play for the DC United soccer team.
My name is Brittany Emerson, and my dream is to join the FBI.
My name is Joshua Thweed, and I believe in harmony and peace, and I dream to be a writer.
My name is Christopher Rodriguez, and my dream is to be a choir director and a world-known music composer.
My name is Loudon, and I am going to be a legend. We are dreamers. We may be called crazy, but we're not the only ones.
Big dreams!
Let's hear it one more time for Team Dream. My name's Greg Evans. My name's Greg Evans. Are you hearing that out there? Okay, good. My name is Greg Evans. I'm partners with Justin Boudreau in GearUp for Excellence, and we're really, again, honored to be with this amazing group of students. And we've got one more group we're going to bring up in just a moment with another theme. And they've asked me to kind of give you an experience of the theme that they went through before they present it. So in order to do that, a couple things need to happen. First thing is, if you're holding anything in your hands, go ahead and just put it down for just a moment, even if it's camera. Okay? And then go ahead and just sit up nice and straight in your chair. And just for just a second, focus on your breathing. Just everybody take a deep breath in and let it out. Excellent. Now, in the back of the room, we have our DJ, Mijan. She's been with us all week, and she's got about 7,000 songs in her laptop. And we're going to do a little experiment here real quick, because a lot of you are always wondering what's going on in that room with those kids. What are they doing? They're making a lot of noise. Now, we have an activity that they've all done already, and it's called On the Spot, On Demand, In Your Face Karaoke. Yeah. And it's probably exactly what you think it is, and more. So here's the way it works. This is a great room to do it in. The way it works is this. In just a moment, the DJ is going to put on a song. But I need to select someone in this audience who looks the most incredibly confident. So I'm going to come down on the floor in a minute, and my job is I'm going to walk around the room. You're going to stay in complete silence. And I can see the exits are all closed. It is locked down. This is DC, we know security. So here's the thing. I'm going to come down on the floor, I'm going to walk around the room, I'm looking for someone who looks most confident. If I touch you on the shoulder, that means it's your turn to rise up out of your chair. You're going to come right here to this X on the stage. Yeah. Then the music will come on. And not only are we going to ask you to sing along with it, even if you don't know it, you can just mouth the words like Madonna did at the Super Bowl, right? Or if you don't know the words at all, we're going to ask that you move your body, dance a little bit at least, so the people are entertained. Everybody got it? All right, so go ahead and get quiet. I'm coming down. Stay calm. Look confident. I'm coming around. I'm just looking for that one person. It's just going to be one. That's really nice. Point to your friend. Nice job. Stay calm, relax. Go ahead and get silent. I'm really looking for that look. Somebody's got it in their eyes. Some of you will not even look at me. Let me see over here. Oh, I think I found somebody. I think I got somebody. Let me go right back in here real quick. I think I found somebody. Actually, we're not going to do that at all. But what you were just experiencing is fear. Yeah. Yeah. Raise your hand if you're a little bit afraid that it might be you. Yeah. Raise your hand if you were excited that it might be you. There are always a couple. So, we've been talking about two things all week with these students, and these are the things that they need. Lumina Foundation put up those statistics about how many students are going to school that are first generation and are expected to get to college. If you've ever tried to do something that not only have you never done, but nobody in your family has done, that's a scary thing. And there's a lot of fear involved in what they're going through. And yes, we can talk about it academically all day, but if we're not addressing their fear, their social and emotional development at the same time, we are not preparing them to be successful in the situation that they're going to deal with when they get to college. So, the next group that's going to come up, they're going to be very real with you. It's called Fear and Strength. Please put your hands together for the Youth Congress Fear and Strength team.
fear. Everyone in this room has fear, no matter what the race, age, or gender. But see, fear is not always bad. Actually, it's part of life. But if you don't express that fear, then it causes us as people to be let down. And it's our fault that we put ourselves in that position. So be proud of your fear, because who knows, it can become your biggest strength.
Most people think that strength is purely physical, but it's not. You have to have the mental strength to overcome your fears. And having that strength means that any obstacle you come to, you can overcome it. And you don't have to be afraid. And not being afraid means that you can push through any obstacle, and you can make that breakthrough.
In these past 2 days, we have seen breakthroughs. Youth Congress has helped us get rid of our femage, the fear of our own image, and have helped us learn that fears can turn into strengths. We have learned so much about each other and have come so close in such a short period amount of time. Thank you, NCCEP, GearUp, Youth Congress 2012. And remember, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Thank you.
All right. Let's keep the show going. The next theme that we want to definitely jump into is gratitude. We believe that the richest person in this room has nothing to do with the size of your wallet or your bank account. It's the people who are able to look at what they have instead of what they don't. And I'd like to ask you, take a second and think about who's that one person that you know if they wouldn't have been in your life, who's that one person that your life just wouldn't be where it is? Who's that teacher that cared for you, maybe when you felt alone? We've all been through obstacles, and it's because of others that we get to call ourselves educators today. In a moment, I'd like for you to find a partner at the table that you're sitting, somebody right next to you. Just go ahead and turn in their direction, please. Go ahead and do this now. Now, in your partnership, there might be a group of 3. If you're uneven, that's fine. And in your partnership, go ahead and have one person determine who has got the biggest size shoes. If you have the biggest size shoes, raise your hand. All right, Bigfoot, you're going to go first. Now, the question is, and you're only going to have a short time. The question is who is that person? Who's the educator or that person that turned your life around when maybe you needed it? You have 30 seconds to share. Littlefoot, go ahead and listen. Go for it. 30 seconds begins now. Take 10 more seconds. All right, go ahead and switch. Littlefoot, it's your turn. Go ahead and share who you are most grateful for, somebody who has impacted your life. You may begin. Take 5 more seconds. Go ahead and pause. Now, go ahead and give a high five to your partner and say thanks for sharing. Now go ahead and please bring your focus to the front of the stage. Turn your chair if you turned it already. Without further ado, help me bring to the stage Team Gratitude.
Hello, my name is Andrew Wilson, and I'll be reading a poem I created called Gratitude. Gratitude has a lot of meanings, but everyone's different because we're human beings. You should be grateful for the things that you get, so you should tell them thank you, and it's good to say it. When you show people your gratitude and respect, you'll both will smile, and happiness will be met. People show their gratitude to their parents and stuff, but we can't forget about this great program, GearUp. GearUp helped us all, especially me, because if I didn't have GearUp, where would I be? If I didn't have GearUp, I would have been a quitter, quitting high school and becoming a failure. Before GearUp, I felt lonely and shy, but now this program helped me feel so alive. I never knew this many people would be nice to me. They don't treat me like friends, they treat me like family. I told myself to show more gratitude, so I would do my duties without any attitude. Thank you, family, and GearUp for helping me, because you helped me in my image, as you can see. Thank you.
I'd like to thank my guardians for being there and stepping in when my real parents weren't there.
I'd like to thank my parents for caring about me and providing me with everything I need to have a great future.
I'd like to thank my GearUp advisors, Dara Ward and Veronica Lovell, for always being there for me and for always encouraging me when I needed it the most. And I will love you and be grateful for you forever for that.
I am very grateful for Linda Morgan. She is very dear to my heart. She has done so much, not only for me, but also for everyone else in GearUp. She has sacrificed sleep, sweat, and tears for me. She really does care about me and all of the GearUp students. I honestly don't know where I would be without her. I truly do love her and will forever remember what she has done for me. Can you stand? Please? I love you. I love you.
I am greatly thankful for my dad for saving my life, and without him, I wouldn't be here today in front of these beautiful people.
I am grateful for my boyfriend for always being here for me. He helped me through an eating disorder.
I am tremendously thankful for my mother and father for helping me overcome my fear of speaking in front of people.
I am grateful for my mom because when she always been there for me when my dad went to jail, and I'm also grateful for my uncle because when I was diagnosed with depression, he was there by my side.
I'm grateful for GearUp, especially Rosalie, because without her, I don't think my grades would be as high as they are.
I am thankful for my grandparents that they support me and raised me. I am so grateful.
Is it on? How y'all doing tonight? My name is Nicholas Robinson from Potomac High School in Temple Hills, Maryland. I just want to thank my mother and my father. I want to thank my brothers. But I really want to thank GearUp because they've given me something to look forward to. GearUp has brought me not just friends, they brought me family. They brought me brothers, sisters, cousins, people that I can turn to in my trials and tribulations, look to, and they can give me guidance and help me just get through my problems. I just want to thank Ms. Sonja Okrum. I want to thank Ms. Erica Hall. They've given me guidance. They helped me pull my grades up. In 9th grade, I was about a 1.8 cumulative GPA. I've gone up to about a 2.5. So I just want to thank you. We're thankful for you, GearUp.
That felt good, huh? I'm practically crying over there. The final team we want to bring up is all about action, taking action. We spent a lot of time this week on responsibility. And what's amazing about these young people backstage is that as many challenges as they are facing, there was zero finger pointing. We asked them, what are your challenges? What are you doing out there? And every one of them were saying, yeah, that's a challenge, but I've got an idea. I know what I want to do. I have a way to fix it. I just need a little help. So we spent a lot of time on that personal responsibility and taking action. And it reminded me of a story that my grandfather told me in 1988. I was a junior in high school, which if you do the math, that makes me 29, same as you. Same as all of you, right? So the story is a quick story. It's about a group of scientists who were actually fascinated with the flea. The flea, very small, most of us find it very irritating, has an incredible ability when it's born. The second it is born, it can jump 43 times its height. Pretty amazing ability. No other species has that. More interestingly, 3 months within its early life, it can jump 200 times its height. Imagine having that ability. You wouldn't have to be in traffic anymore, right? Going to work, boom, right? And you're there. Now, what was fascinating about the flea is, yes, they have this ability, but the scientists wanted to figure out, are they intelligent? And in science, one of the ways that they define intelligence is, do you know how and when to use your ability? So they were testing the fleas. They took 100 fleas. They put them in a clear jar. And then they put a lid over the jar. And they zoomed cameras in from all sides, and sure enough, within a few seconds, a flea decided to use its natural God-given ability and jumped. And this flea paid the price. He hit his head on the lid, he dropped back down. Now, what was fascinating is what happened in the next 30 seconds to 1 minute as the scientists watched. Somehow, the fleas communicated with each other. That one flea who had a negative experience of hitting his head and failing somehow spread the word that, hey, there's a ceiling up there, there's a lid up there, you can jump, just only jump this high. And so, over the next few hours, they left the lid on there, and they watched the fleas jump. And the fleas continued to jump, but they all only jumped just high enough to where they wouldn't hit their head on the lid. 24 hours later, the scientists say, well, let's check it out, see how intelligent these fleas are. They took the lid off the jar. After 7 days, 97 out of 100 of those fleas died in that jar. Only 3 dared to jump as high as they could, as high as their natural ability would allow them to do. Now, the fleas, they determined were not intelligent as a result of that, or only 3 of them were, 3%. And this is kind of a sad analogy, but in a lot of ways, it's what these young people are facing every day. They're surrounded by people who may not think it's possible to go where they want to go. They know they've got the ability, but they've been talked down a number of times to say, don't do it. I tried that. It's never going to work for you. You're not the right race. You're not the right ethnic background, demographic background. You don't have what it takes to get where you want to go. So this week we spent a lot of time getting that ability back in place, getting that belief back in place, and more importantly, getting them ready to jump again. Please put your hands together for team action.
Everyone can have dreams, and everyone can have fears and strengths too.
And everyone should be grateful to those who have supported them.
However, nothing new can be accomplished without stepping out of your comfort zone and taking action.
We ourselves will be stepping out of our comfort zones to show you that we can take action through GearUp.
Hello everyone, my name is Billy Ann Semple. This is Alexa and Lydia. And we come from a school that has 20% of its student body who are considered homeless. We have lack of opportunity that plagues our school. Through GearUp, they have given us opportunities that would have never been imaginable, like being here in front of you all today. We are so thankful, so my problem is lack of opportunity. Watch us break through it. Maybe. And you know, this is one of the challenges. We may try, we may fail, and guess what? We got to do it again. Let's give her some applause. There we go.
Hi, I'm Kelsey, and I'm from an itty-bitty county called Rutherford County that's in North Carolina. This year, the GearUp funding in our county will be cut. Although this poses a great problem for us, our pledge as GearUp students is to break over this obstacle by continuing to carry out the many programs that GearUp has already created for us. The problem that we are overcoming is lack of funds. Watch us break through.
Hi, my name is Maggie White, and I'm from McAllister, Oklahoma. And with me I have Chelsea and Anna. One of the problems in our school is that a lot of our students don't feel like they can get funding to go to college. They feel like they're not good enough for scholarships, or maybe writing intimidates them, so they never try. Our GearUp representative, Miss Nina Faraday, came in and encouraged all of us to apply for as many scholarships as possible. And as a direct result of her effort, we got over $1 million of scholarship for my graduating class. Lack of motivation was our obstacle, and GearUp helps us break through it.
Action, the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim.
This is team action. We are more than verbally expressing ourselves. We are stepping out of our comfort zones, meeting new people, breaking through our obstacles, and achieving our goals.
These boards represent the obstacles we must face. Let this last board represent any obstacle that you may face.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give one big round of applause. Youth Congress 2012. And please welcome to the stage Nathan Manel.
Wow, let's give another round of applause for our wonderful students. And also for GearUp for Excellence. Thank you so much. Wow. This Congress would not be possible without the support of our partners and friends. Texas Instruments, thank you so much. I also want to thank all the program coordinators and chaperones who made it possible for the students to come. It's a lot of work to get them here. Thank you for your support. The youth will be wrapping up shortly, and we want to remind GearUp directors to join the Youth Congress students in Columbia Hall for their closing session. If you went to the Hill yesterday to share your enthusiasm and to be a voice for the voiceless, would you please raise your hand? Wow. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your efforts. Please be sure to share your outcomes with Daniel so we know how things went. It has been an exciting and inspiring few days. On Monday, I asked you to bring your energy, ideas, and open minds to this conference and to use the time well for learning, sharing, and fellowship. Our speakers have offered us points of reflection and called on us to carry a mighty torch for these, our students. In your sessions, you shared your ideas eagerly and willingly, and your peers respectfully listened and affirmed your successes. Our business partners were here too. They engaged with us inside and outside the exhibit hall, and you shared and we saw your mutual appreciation for the collaborations you are developing each day. We do not do this work in a vacuum. It's been an honor to provide this training on behalf of the Department of Education. We're so pleased to be a partner with James Davis. It's been great to have all the program officers here with us this year, and also to have all the dignitaries like Deborah Saunders-White who've been with us over the last few days. For their hard work, on behalf of us and our students, please join me in an enthusiastic thank you for the Department of Education team. Please stand. I have two pieces of business and a parting thought. We hope to see each and every one of you in Las Vegas, February 3rd through 6th, for the 2013 Capacity Building Workshop. We have a terrific venue at Caesar's Palace, and you won't want to miss the training we are planning for each one of you. It'll be one of the times where what happens in Vegas doesn't need to happen in Vegas, because you'll take it back home and put it to work in your community. My second piece of business is to thank Bruce Brooks. Thank you for being our voice of God this week. We appreciate it. And my parting thought. DJ Vanis on Monday reminded us that time is a precious but limited resource. It is our job to live each day in ways that reflect what we value most. What do you value most? I'm going to spend the next 4 days with my children. But then on Monday with the NCCEP team, we're going to be back at our desks, making sure that GearUp is the most innovative and progressive college access in the program, and you'll be doing that back in your communities. We are proud to work alongside you to make sure that we're all doing the very best job we can possibly do for our students. We hope over the next 7 months you'll be doing that until we see you again. And so we wish you safe travels in your journey and a productive and exciting fall. See you all in Vegas. Thank you.
You know the bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. You know I dream in color and do the things I want. You think you got the best of me, think you've had the last laugh, bet you think that everything good is gone. Think doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.